Welcome. Welcome. Wanted to do something just a little different for Black History Month to give you a black thought once a day. So hopefully these videos, as we go online, will share with you some inspiration and thought on what it means to be blessed, the wisdom of God, celebrated in both Old Testament and New Testament and Proverbs and Romans, identifies Jesus as God's Spirit, and it seems to be expounded in this passage in Romans. Jesus, knowing human weaknesses, a weakness exacerbated.
In 1939, when it was finally consummated as a wish of the Methodist Church South, before uniting with the Methodist Church North, and they had been divided ever since slavery, because of slavery, then the South insisted that the Negroes we were then in the church be put into this separate jurisdiction geographically. It was like a map on the map. I remember when one of my older brothers, Rossman Turpo, came home as a graduate of West Virginia State College. And he said, "Papa, I finished college now. I've got a scholarship to Howard Law School and a scholarship to Howard School of Religion. If you can justify to me why you stay in this church that doesn't want you, then I'll go to seminary. If not, I'm going to law school." And my father's words were, "You don't win a battle by leaving the battlefield." They said, if we ever get this church to live up to its own pronouncements, then we can get the church straight. And if we ever get the Methodist Church straight, we will have the country straight. Because there are more representatives in Congress, there are more elected officials throughout the country who are Methodists. And he said to my brother, "Whatever you do, whatever you want to do." Because my brother said, "But Papa, you can be Christian without being Methodist. You can be Methodist without being this Methodist. You got AME, CME, AME Zion." And Papa said, "Well, they left, but we're staying. And we're staying to try to get this church straight. Because they can't be the Church of Jesus Christ without us."
Not only was Christianity or the Bisrat present in ancient Africa, but it was actually the dominant religion all over ancient Africa.
We don't realize that in our colonized theology, we've made whites the Jews and blacks the Gentiles. Right. You know, and which we're the unclean ones, they're the clean ones that we need to come into community with. And so it's just, I mean, and I'm saying that to say even back to the effects of Christian nationalism on everything is, man, everything in Western colonized Christianity is fully white. And we have to be like disciple. Again, I'm using the word again. We have to be discipled out of that stuff, man. Yeah.
Oh, somebody's stealing our wages, and it's gone on far too long, and we won't be silent anymore. Oh, somebody's blocking our vote. It's gone on far too long. Yes, it's gone on far too long. I'll tell you it's gone on far too long. Oh, somebody's blocking our voting rights, and it's gone on far too long. And we won't be silent anymore. And we won't be silent. And we won't be silent anymore.
The last 2 months of his life, Dr. King faced the idea that civil rights alone could not solve the problem of poverty. He roamed the South, trying to gain support for Poor People's Campaign. Its goals: full employment, a guaranteed income, and decent housing for every American.
The campaign would recruit among all races, bring them to Washington, force the government to respond. A nonviolent army of the poor.
All working together to solve the problem of poverty. We're tired of working full-time jobs for part-time income, and we are tired of not being able to find work. And it didn't cost the nation 1 penny to integrate lunch counters. It didn't cost the nation 1 penny to guarantee the right to vote. Now we are dealing with issues that cannot be solved without the nation spending billions of dollars and undergoing a radical redistribution of economic power. And if our nation can spend $35 billion a year to fight an unjust, evil war in Vietnam and $20 billion to put a man on the moon, it can spend billions of dollars to put God's children on their own 2 feet right here on earth. This is a reality. Now, when we come to Washington, we are coming to get our check. Very frankly, this is a search for an alternative to riot. The riot is the language of the unheard. And what is it that America has failed to hear? It has failed to hear that the promises of freedom and justice have not been met. All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But if a man doesn't have a job or an income, he has neither life nor liberty and the possibility for the pursuit of happiness. He merely exists. We are demanding an emergency program to provide employment for everyone in need of a job, or if a work program is impractical, a guaranteed annual income at levels that sustain life in decent circumstances. This is a new beginning on the economic front.
The Poor People's Campaign was about economics. Hey, what happened to that whole movement? It's almost as if it wasn't, it disappeared.
Wait a minute. It didn't disappear. You might forget Martin Luther King was assassinated in April. The Poor People's Campaign was supposed to go to Washington in April. So the organization that mobilized it was essentially decapitated and thrown into chaos about 3 weeks before it was supposed to happen.
Realistic fact